Space is going. Mic is on. Guys, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Russin Glitchmaster, if you guys can hear me, please give me a thumbs up before we get started. I just want to make sure Twitter Spaces audio is linked. Glitchmaster, Russin, one of y'all, smack that thumbs up button if you can hear on audio. Should be good. Give me 5 seconds. Cool. Think we're going.
I can hear you from my phone in my cupboard.
All right. Nice. Guys, welcome back to the Joyage Kingdom. I'm Cage, your guide. I'll be replacing the voice inside your head for now, giving you a break from the constant internal monologue that is the human mind. I want to say first thing for listening and viewing on whatever platform you're on. If you haven't already, smash the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. Join the kingdom. This podcast is brought to you guys by BetFury Gaming, a crypto company looking to bring y'all motherfucking generational wealth. We are our educational content podcast over to their decent audience, and for every 10 minutes you're watching on Twitch, you earn 100 points, and you can exchange those points for entries to win real cash prizes. Today's guest is KELANO, growth lead at Binance NFT. He's led some absolutely massive spaces and interviews with some of the leaders in the Web3 space. He's a PA, which obviously had some FUD recently, so we'll talk about that a little bit as far as the entire market FUD. We're going to talk about some current event stuff as well. We're also going to talk about just normal NFT stuff, the normal podcasting stuff. But dude, welcome to the show. Would love to just jump straight into it and ask the question that's probably on everyone's mind. How Binance, dude?
Yeah, nice to be here. Usually I'm the one saying nice to have you here, because I'm the one hosting spaces. Great to be here, Kate. As I was telling you before we jumped on the space, I've been a long-time watcher since pretty well over a year ago now. So it does feel a bit surreal to be here, to be honest. But yeah, super pumped, And how's Binance doing? As CZ says, we keep building. We don't care about the FUD, and we keep building. So I think that's what Binance is about, And we just keep going every day,
Well, so I was my real question was like, how Binance? Like, how did you land this position with Binance? How did you get started with them? Was that a long time coming? Was it like something that have you known these guys? Like, how does someone get into the Binance ecosystem as someone who's working?
Yeah, so good question. I guess a lot of people ask me, how did I get this job? Because they see me running spaces and they think that's all I do, to be honest, But now, I've got so my role is NFT growth manager. So long story short, that's basically means I'm looking after all the social channels that Binance NFT has, which include like Twitter, Telegram, Discord, private group chats as well. My role is to grow those channels, to bring users to the marketplace, and to do all the marketing content for the projects we're working with. So it could be things like the Cristiano Ronaldo NFT launch that happened, I don't know, maybe 3 months ago now, 2 months ago, I'm not sure. Time flies in the NFT space. Make all the strategy for all the launches and the launch pads. We have some IGO as well, which is like initial game offering. So it's a lot. It's a lot of work, if I'm honest. Big days, long days. But yeah, I do the Twitter Spaces series as well, which is kind of my own initiative. And that's probably what people know me the most for. And they somehow think that's all I do: tweeting GM and replying GMs and doing spaces. But yeah, it's a pretty extensive job, to be honest. But to get into how I got it. So I was working at an aggregator NFT tool before called Compass. Maybe some of you have heard of it. It was like NFT Nerds, kind of IC tool, sort of competitor before that. And I worked there for 6 months. And then, the market condition was so that they kind of had to cut down on staff, and I was on the higher paid staff in the team, I guess. So I was the first one to go, long story short. And so, that kind of gave me a lot of Web3 experience, but, taking it one step back at a time, how did I get into that job in the first place? So I was using, they have an NFT, it's a token gated tool. And I was using the tool when it was free before they released their collection. And I wanted to really go into Web3 full time since like kind of November, December 2021, about 2 months after I kind of started discovering NFTs. And the reason for that was, I bought my Bitcoin in 2017, like everybody at the top, but it was something I kind of missed staying in the crypto ecosystem, I guess. And then when I discovered NFTs, I really thought, damn, this is kind of like, what Bitcoin was in 2012. Like, I feel like there is like generational wealth or like, it's the technology change of the decade, right? Because Bitcoin was like the technology change of the 2010s. And I feel like NFT is the same thing in the 2020s, if you know what I mean. So, I was working at the time, and I'll get to that in a second. I was working in Web2 at the time. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to fuck this another time. I'm going to do everything I can in my power to become full-time Web3, like within 6 months, basically, So I was obviously a Discord degen, like most of us, staying in 55 Discords every single day. And I was using this tool called Compass. It was free at the time. And then I realized at some point that they were launching an NFT, so it was going to be token gated. So I hopped into their Discord, and then they launched this NFT. It sold out in 10 minutes, like anything in 2020, early 2022, I guess. And I offered to be a mod, at first, just because I really liked the tool and I was using it all the time. And I thought, damn, they have a pretty small team, so there's a chance I can kind of be a mod in there, right? So free work at the time. And then I've got a lot of marketing experience, which I'll jump on in a second. And I started being basically the Discord mod, and I was just there all the time, So I kind of they had no choice but to kind of recognize that I was working hard, and they said, okay, well, we want you to work with us full time. You're helping us a lot with marketing. I was managing the Twitter account. I was Discord head mod, I guess you can say. So they said, what can you do? How many hours can you do for us? And I said, listen, this is how much I earn in my Web2 job. If you pay me the same thing, I am quitting tomorrow. Okay. And they kind of went for it. So yeah, that's how I got my first full-time paid job. They paid what I was earning in my normal job, because I said, listen, I've got a missus. I'm getting married next year. I can't really afford to take a half pay cut, but if you pay me what I have, I will give you everything I have, and that's how I got my first Web3 full-time paid job, So that's kind of my Web3 experience. And then before that, I was working in marketing. So I come from a paid advertising background. So I worked at companies like WPP. If some of you have heard, it's one of the biggest agency group in the world. I worked at MediaCom, which is one of their bigger marketing agencies. And I was looking after clients like Shell. I was looking after the B2B activities for Shell. I was looking after the social media advertising for Ferrari as well, the Formula One stuff. I also worked in companies like Boohoo, the clothing brands. So, I kind of had a pretty good experience in Web2 marketing. And then I built my Web3 knowledge and Web3 experience. And all those combined, when Compass closed down, or let's say let me go, because they're still running on a small team, I thought, well, I've always been pretty confident in myself, to be honest. So I thought, what, I'm going to look for a big job this time. I want to work for the biggest company I can. And I applied at OpenSea, I applied at Binance, I applied at some, by the way, anyone looking for a Web3 job, I'm going to give you the best advice you can hear for free, is to go on AngelList, which is renaming very soon to Angel Found, I think. But if you Google AngelList, it's a list of jobs by companies that are VC funded. So don't make the mistake to go for new projects because they have no funding, right? Or they have a couple of 100,000. But if you go on jobs that are specifically VC funded, they've just had a seed around like a few months ago. They have 5, 10, 15, 20 millions. So they're going to have money to pay you, right? So I look for jobs over there. Binance posted their job on this platform as well. And it was also on their own website. So you can just go on binance.com/jobs, I think, and look for the jobs over there. And yeah, I had a pretty basically big experience in Web2 marketing and had a good experience in Web3. And I think that was kind of like a match made in heaven, because it's really difficult to find people who have both NFT experience and like a solid real marketing experience, I guess. So, it was like a series of, I think, 6 interviews in total. And I made it on top,
Dude, that is the coolest fucking story. Bane, I see it's this great story. Shout out to everyone in the space and also the video stream as well. Shout out Beth Fury fam. What a story. And also I hope you guys took some fucking notes there, because that's pretty much bear market / bull market proof advice. There's a lot of times where you'll hear people talk on spaces and they only like a lot of the stuff they say is so circumstantial to a massive bull run. But what he just said is like, go on this fucking website because there are companies that are VC backed. Well, hopefully they're still VC backed after SVB Bank was shut down and all the big crypto banks shut down. But there are absolutely, like, if you know who to target if you're making content, at least, like that's one of the best ways I think to get a job and to get clients is to make content, become that expert, let them come to you, kind of like a fly to a light kind of thing, or whatever, and that to a light. And that would be my advice as well. And then submit pretty much every single thing. People would be surprised. Like, the reason most people don't have jobs in Web3 is because they literally just don't try to get it. They just are like, oh, I want it. And I'm like, okay, what have you done? And they're like, well, nothing. And I'm like,
100%.
Yeah, man.
And just for another nugget as well, I got another job because when I was so I kind of left this job recently because I just didn't have the bandwidth to do it, but I got a job from through the Root job board as well, and I was looking after the Twitter account for Seed Phrase Daily, which is another podcast / newsletter. So until very recently, I was the dude behind that Twitter account as well. And I was hosting the spaces on Twitter and all that stuff. So the Root job board also gave me some good stuff, and because I'm a Root holder, I got there pretty early and I just applied. Once again, pretty good experience and landed the job,
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. So see, I'm friends with the people over at Seed Phrase. Shout out Mo, Parissa.
Yeah, but I sent you so many DMs,
I didn't know that was you DMing me, bro. That's hilarious. Wow. That's so when were you running that?
For like 4 or 5 months until like 3 weeks ago or a month ago,
Get the fuck out of here. That's the funniest shit. I think I thought I was messaging with Mo the whole time, but then I would think about it, like I was messaging Mo on the side, so there's no way it was him. That's funny as fuck. Wow. Andres says, Kate, please come to LA. Andres, you already know, bro. So for people who don't know, NFT LA is next week. I will be there. 100% will be there. I'm going to hopefully meet up with Crypto Wendy. I know she's got a little talk, so I'm going to try and go to that. I'm excited to meet people in LA. I have no idea who's going to go. I'll definitely be hanging out with Andres. So you'll probably see us two degens running around. And we'll be doing some fun stuff out there. So are you going to be, by chance, are you flying over from the other side of the country to come to NFT LA?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
No, man, I'm on the other side of the world right now.
That's not an excuse, bro. That's not an excuse. NFT LA. What you mean?
I know, right? I tried to expense it, but that did not get approved.
Yeah. RIP. Well, that's all right. So as we move as we move from your story with Binance, how you got the job, how other people can probably hope to get jobs. I think there's a ton of alpha in there. Would you walk me through what your day in the life looks like when you wake up? Are you waking up super early? Are you a degen like right now? You're out here recording a podcast at 10 o'clock at night. What's the deal?
Yeah, so like these days, I tend to do a decent amount of podcasts quite late for Binance. So like usually, I will accept taking a podcast until my 11 p.m. Because that's just the way you have to do with people who are like in the US and stuff. But I'm quite an early riser in general. I believe in routine myself. So I usually in a perfect week, I will wake up at like 6 o'clock or 5:30. And I've got a dog, so I just wake up, take my dog for a walk. So that's my 15-minute, 20-minute walk as I wake up, chug 2 glasses of water, the classic, But yeah, I wake up, take my dog out, then come in, get a shower, and then do my own thing for like maybe an hour, which could be like whether I'm, doing content or just anything for myself, self-improvement, reading, whatever it could be. And then I just crack on with work, usually around maybe like 7:30, 7:45. And because, at Binance, a lot of my team are in China. So for me, it's pretty good if I start working early, because then I'm catching like a lot of them throughout like their late morning or early afternoon, so that's pretty good for me to start early. So I always try to start work as early as possible. And then I'm just going to be working, to be honest, until I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10. It really depends, I work a lot in general, but yeah, that's just the way it is, So and then after that, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, it depends when I finish. Spend some time with the missus. I don't really go out too much, to be honest. I used to be a big party guy when I was young. I used to be a promoter, actually, doing my own parties, techno parties. Pop in suites every Saturday nights until Sunday afternoon sometimes. So I've done my fair share of going out, and these days I'm much more like a home person. So yeah, it's a pretty simple life. I just get up, do my own stuff, and then just do some work. So yeah, it's
mainly
not
like
that exciting.
meetings and stuff. Is it like what's taking up most of the time during work?
Yeah, so for work, what takes a lot of time is going to be like planning the content, first of all. So I manage Twitter, Discord, Telegram, and like 5 or 6 private channels with like different communities from Binance. So that's a lot of content to plan out, to be honest. Because we need technically another person to help us in the team, but we're still like trying to recruit at the moment. So shout out if you want. There is a job for being my colleague right now. 1 second, my dog is scratching the door. I'm just gonna let him in. Yeah, give me like 5 seconds.
Sure, totally fine. Guys, did you hear that? Binance is literally fucking hiring. I'm gonna throw my hat. He's good.
He's gone. Yeah.
He's good. I was just saying, guys.
My day is mainly planning content, planning campaigns with other projects that we're partnering with, looking after Discord. I'm the Discord owner of Binance NFT. So we just launched our Discord, I think 3 weeks ago or a month ago right now. So everything that's happening in there is basically planned by me. I manage all the moderators. We have some Binance Angels as well, which are basically a group of volunteers that help us either moderating Discord, moderating Telegram. So that's like about probably 80, 85 angels that we have. So I have to look after those people as well, make sure they are able to do their job. My job is to make their job easy, and then we recently launched another program called NFO, which stands for NFT Feedback Officers. So that's about like another 70 people basically who are also volunteer, but are just able to give us feedback on our marketplace updates. So like, for example, Binance just launched the Polygon integration last week or a week and a half ago now. All these guys were trying the integration like 2 weeks before we went public to give us all the bugs, all the possible improvement that we can make, etc. So, I spent a lot of time recruiting these guys, and, I have to interview every single one of them. So, if my calendar last week, I had like 60 calls last week of 15 minutes, to just interview every single one of them. So you can imagine that's like taking a big portion of my week, for example, last week. And then, now I have to make sure I, kind of manage these groups every single day, right? So the Twitter is literally like a small portion of my job. People think like, oh, I see he's running Binance Spaces and, saying GM on Twitter, but believe me, that is like such a small portion.
It is always more work than it sounds like.
Exactly.
Anyone listening, I was going to say, anyone's listening, if you're trying to get into this Binance, he literally just said that they're looking for someone. So if you're actually qualified, or even, dude, honestly, if you're fucking even not qualified, I would still throw in your hat and see what happens. I see Andres saying Binance, hire me. Andres actually would be probably a really good match for you, honestly. So maybe I'll link you guys right after the stream. But yeah, keep going. You're about to keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all good, man. So yeah, like that's kind of what my days look like. A lot of community management and social media campaign planning. To put a long story short. And then I've got this Twitter Spaces series that I started about like 3 months ago now with Binance. So at first I was doing it once a week, and then I realized that somehow when you send a DM from Binance, you tend to get a pretty high response rate, and then when you request people to come on space, you also get a pretty high response rate somehow. So at first I was just like DMing all my favorite influencers, basically, or my favorite project founders. And then I ended up with having like a 3-month planning, so I said, okay, I got to bump these to twice a week. So I'm doing these spaces every Tuesday, every Thursday. It's at 6 p.m. on Tuesdays and UTC, and 4 p.m. Thursdays UTC as well, unless like someone has like a really different time zone, basically. So that takes me a little bit of time as well. I think that's that's kind of what my job really is about. But you just said you try to talk about someone applying potentially, like, believe me, guys, if you've been in the NFT space for like a year solid, and you've been in it day in, day out, you're highly qualified. I cannot stress this enough. Marketplaces, blockchain layers, everything, they are looking for people who can manage their Twitter, we can help out and have this NFT culture, and it's very, very difficult to find at high level, so anyone who is who thinks they can do it, but still have like maybe self-doubt about their own worth, if you've been in the NFT space since Q3 or Q4 2021, you are qualified, then you just have to be a little bit smart about what you do outside of it. But yeah, a lot of people are qualified. They just don't realize it,
Yeah, bro. Fuck, maybe I should apply. God damn, that makes me want to fucking apply. Jesus. All right, well, I'm gonna check that out a little bit, honestly. And NFT, I see a couple people talking about NFT NYC. I will be in NFT NYC for sure. 100%. I'll be in NFT NYC. And I want to also swing by Miami. So I think there's a lot of content creators down there in Miami. Also, Colin, any chance you're going? I know you said you're not going to LA, but any chance you're gonna go to NFT NYC?
It's a bit closer, but I don't know. When is it?
That's April 12th through the 14th, I think. So you got like a month still. Like, I'm just saying, bro, you should go. We should do a little meetup. I'm saying, like, it'd be kind of lit. You guys could probably get a massive Binance like meetup thing. And like, I don't know, I can help you set it up, whatever, it'd be cool. I'll be there anyway.
It's like, I tried to get some sponsorships and stuff of like NFT conferences, but they were doing it during the bull run, and apparently the ROI is like really bad actually for sponsorships. So it doesn't seem like it's really interesting from a business perspective, from a networking perspective. Like, I would love to do it, and Red Binance over there, but from my understanding, it's just not really a good ROI, so it's just not happening from Binance.
That was the risk that people said from last year. They were like, damn, this might be the last NFT NYC that's like legit, because they might run out of fucking money. They're like, how are they going to keep putting on events every year? You literally just can't. So I'm very interested to see. I'm going to go because I'm a content creator, and like, it's always good for me. But I'm very interested to see what it's going to look like in LA and New York.
Yeah, no, I think these are two like established ones, and especially NYC was really good last year. So I think they have a good shot at kind of like bringing people again. But I was talking to Nicky G recently, and he's organizing NFT Toronto, and they had to cancel it, because they didn't have enough sponsorships and all that stuff. So yeah, the money bag is kind of drying out for everybody, and you have to be conservative as a business, like whether it's Binance, OpenSea, or I don't know, anyone who's like pretty famous. You have to be smart with your money. You can't just dash like 50K, 100K, or 500K for sponsorship of events that are just not really going to bring you an ROI. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and actually, I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on this, because I've just sort of, I feel like we've all sort of thought this a couple of times, but it's become very, very, very painfully relevant now after we've seen so many tech companies, VCs, tech people basically lose all their money, and we're like, damn, hold on a second, maybe these people weren't as smart as we thought. Maybe there was just really good timing and a good decision was made, and now they're rich, or now they have a massive VC. Now they've invested in a tiny little thing. They put $1,000, made $1 million, kind of thing. And it's not just NFTs, guys, for people who are listening and you're like, oh my God, NFTs really are dead. Then they're running out of money. This is like all the tech bubbles. Like, my dad is the top of the game, Silicon Valley. He got fired. And like, it's just what, he got another job, obviously, but like, people are getting fired, and like, people cannot make money. Like, people were spending exorbitant amounts of money during these last few years, this tech boom that we've been in. Really, I think that spawned from COVID, just because people are so much at home. But your thoughts on that idea that maybe the people in tech, the companies in tech, weren't as smart. Maybe that there was just, how do I word this question? Like, who should we be looking at? Who's trustworthy actually? Like, who actually knows? And who do you think just got really good timing, and just maybe they're not as smart as we thought? Who are you looking at? Which companies are you excited about? Obviously Binance, but like, talk to me about that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would say that my rule of thumb is, if I know how people made money, and if they've made money from kind of like one thing, which is like early investing in a coin, like, I'm not saying you're stupid, but it doesn't mean you're smart. You know what I mean? Because if you invested like 10K in Bitcoin in 2013, and you left it there, and now you're a millionaire, well, you're a diamond hand, so that's good for you, right? I'm happy for you and all that stuff, but it doesn't mean you have like acquired skills, right? Funny enough, I was talking with Mo from Seed Phrase one time, and like, people who just made their money from one really, really big trade, etc., like, they haven't really acquired skills, right, along the way. So unless you have seen them building something, then it doesn't mean they are actually like super smart or super clued up about things. So that's my one thing, and I always take it with a grain of salt when people say, or when I know they have like a decent bag, because having a bag in crypto could be one lucky trade, or a couple of lucky trades, and you could also be lost very easily, right? Because a lot of people had a bag and they also did not sell it, right? So people did not sell their their BAYC at 200 ETH. They did not sell their MAYC at 40 ETH. They did not sell their Moonbird at 40 ETH. They did not sell their Clonex at 20 ETH.
Bro, chill, bro, chill. You gotta break all these people's hearts. Still gotta be reminded about that.
You're time in hand, but you're also dumb, right? So having a money in crypto is really not the meaning of like being smart, But if I'm looking at smart people, things that are, let me start by saying things that are replicable, right? So there's this guy that just passed like 10 or 11K followers this week. His name is Bagman on Twitter. And he just finished his 1 ETH to 100 ETH journey, right? So I don't know the guy personally too much, right? Just saw his thread of the journey. So I don't know the guy. I'm not shitting for him. But yeah, he started in September. So that's what, like 8 months, 7 months, and went from 100 to 100 ETH. Bagman in one word. So these kind of guys. BAGMA. Yeah, I think so. Let me just check my DM. I spoke to him.
I see it. 14K
now. So this guy, he's always doing like, I started following him and checked out his content, and he's putting out really good value. And I find out his wallet and just kind of like observe what he's doing, because he made 100x in 7 months. That's not luck, you know what I mean? Because you can see his trading history. It's hundreds of trade, right? So that's the kind of people I'm really looking at. We're compounding returns over time at like a really higher rate than usual. So that's one guy I really liked. There is another guy who's doing the same thing. This guy is a nutter of a trader. I think you can check his OpenSea. It's called died.eth. So, like someone died. Died.eth, another fantastic trader. Not a lot of followers, but he doesn't need followers. He's making ETH, day to day. So these are like kind of like traders I really look up to. Then if I look more into like business owners, obviously I personally look up to CZ, like the Binance founder, because like he's got a really strong mindset and he has really good values. Even not talking about like someone who works at Binance, but just he's been really resilient. He doesn't care about the FUD, just keeps building. And he's notoriously, Binance is notoriously kind of like, let's say, a bit tight with their money, right? But that's why they still have cash. That's why they have proof of reserve, and that's why they're still growing, right? Unless, unlike FTX was just dashing money around like stupid, let me tell you a story about this actually. I was trying to look for partnerships with YouTubers at Binance, and every single American YouTuber or like pretty big YouTuber, that I was messaging, they always said, "Oh yeah, we had a partnership with FTX before. They offered us, they paid us 5 times what you're offering." FTX was sending stupid money, and the YouTubers you guys are all watching, I'm not going to give name, that's not what we're here for. But they were making bags from FTX sponsorships, Our favorite Twitter daily show, was sponsored by FTX and making big money. And when I came to them saying, "Hey, I want to sponsor your episodes," the money, we just could not match it, because they were just giving too much away, But if I look at other founders, like, me, like my big thing is I love content creation. Graham Stephan, the real estate guy, I really like him. He's a G. Yeah, I really like him. Yeah, him, even
He was sponsored by FTX though.
I don't know, but just like what he's doing in general. But maybe he was sponsored by FTX. I just don't know. But in the NFT space, like I think like content creators have the best chance to make successful things for themselves, and like my favorite business, if I as a content creator, is newsletter. I strongly believe newsletter, and it's not even just about crypto, right? It can be about like cars, Pokemon cards, anything you're really passionate about, basketball, football, soccer, whatever you call it. Like newsletter is undoubtedly the best business you can run in Web3, I think, because it's linear progression in terms of earnings, it's going to be like a CPM based, right? So let's say 1,000 subscribers at $100, for example. Just picking random numbers. It's not necessarily that, right? And you have 20,000 subscribers, you're doing $2,000 per placement, right? If you're doing a newsletter once a week, like that's $2,000 a week. If you have 20,000 subscribers, times 4 weeks a month, that's $8,000. And then you can start doing a daily newsletter instead, and then the money starts going crazy, right? So newsletter is pretty my favorite business. You have really good people doing that. Like NFT God, I think, is monetizing that really, really well. It's probably one of the best at the moment, I think. You obviously have Seed Phrase. Shout out to my ex team, Seed Phrase. I think they're doing pretty good as well. And they're doing it daily, which is fucking difficult. Weekly is okay. You can do it on your Saturday night. But going daily, it's a different ball game. That you have to be full time for that. I think these are like the kind of people I look up to. And it's not about how many followers they have, because if you see someone with 200,000 followers on Twitter in the NFT space, like half of their followers are no longer in the NFT space, right?
90%, 90%,
90%, right? That's why most people with 200,000 followers have less impressions and that someone like Whale Swoosh, who I actually interviewed for Binance 2 days ago. The guy has 32,000 followers, and his threads get like 300,000 impressions, which is way more than some of the bigger influencers in terms of like follower count, because most of the people in the NFT space are gone.
Dude, that is just a lot of fucking impressions. Jesus Christ, how does he only have 32K?
Well, because he just started blowing up in January. He had less than 10K.
Got it. Wow, that's fucking impressive. Then that's really interesting to hear you talk about the newsletter, because for me, I can write. Like I'm honestly a good writer. I just don't really. Maybe it's a limiting belief, but I just have always told myself that I'm better on video. I like doing video. Anytime like right now, I'm canvassing out for editors for the podcast, which has been a fucking godsend and a hell at the same time, because like I'm starting. So obviously there's a ton of feedback, and there's tons of like meetings and conversations like, yo, like change this, do this. So like that's been tough, but also with like the feedback, I struggle sometimes to type it out. I'm like, oh, just be easier if I just say it. So I just make a video usually. And my style of content just works better for video. For people who are listening right now, just to bring a little bit more value than you just brought, because you just had a ton. How is the best way to monetize for video content? And if someone wants to make content, but they're like, I like more video. And then maybe you can move a little bit more and talk about the newsletter again. I know you talked about the sponsorships, but when someone's getting started, is there any way to monetize in the beginning? How long should they be expecting to do it for free? What kind of stuff should they be talking about? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think the problem with people who are starting is that they want to reap the rewards of people who have been working for a long time from the beginning. So you've been doing YouTube for maybe a year and a half, 2 years, I'm not sure, right? Funny enough, at one time I left a comment on your video, and it's my real name, so you probably don't know it's me.
Oh.
But you had like 9,000 followers or 8,000 followers on YouTube at the time. And, I said, I really appreciate your videos because you don't have ads in your video, right? And your response was, well, it's because I can't fucking monetize yet, but
yeah, that's true.
I don't know if that sounds like you remember, but yeah, like people who are starting up should not expect money, because you're just starting up. And the chances are that if you're just starting up, you're at your worst skill set ever. Because as you started your first video. If you look at your first video right now, I'm pretty sure you're cringing, right? You think, damn, that was rubbish. My setup was shit. I didn't know how to look, and I was just so self-conscious and all that stuff. So your early content is going to be your worst content, right? But the benefit of starting early, if you don't have like a big account yet, is that you're going to grow with your follower count, and the benefit of doing that is that you're going to improve as your follower count grow. Whereas where I'm talking about starting videos or newsletters here, right? So let's say that you're putting out daily content on Twitter, you're growing your Twitter account, 5K, 10K, 30K, whatever. And then all of a sudden you want to start your YouTube videos or your newsletter. Well, the chances are you're actually going to be putting out bad quality content when you already have a pretty big following on Twitter. And that's just not really like a good synergy, right? So it's way better to start your content early and start your newsletter early, grow as your follower count grows. Then you learn all your mistakes, you learn what works well, what kind of video works best. I know you've been experimenting over the last like 3 or 6 months. I keep watching you, bro. I know you've been experimenting with shorts, and your shorts are doing 10 times the video count of your videos, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying random numbers, right? But I know, like from what I see you posting, and if you are just starting shorts now because you thought, oh, I want to wait to have better content, you wouldn't know, right? You've just been experimenting for so long that now you have like so many data points, right? But the problem is, like, people try to monetize that from day one. Like, if you have a newsletter with 50 subscribers, you shouldn't even be thinking of monetizing it, right? To be honest, you should wait until you have 10,000, 20,000, and then you should wait until like you've managed to get a good click-through rate, which is like how many people are clicking or opening your email, how many people are clicking on the links that you're putting in your newsletter. And trying to monetize too early is generally a bad idea, so and in my opinion, if you're just trying to put out good value, some good things will happen to you. If you're just a content creator putting out newsletters or good tweets, good Twitter threads, etc., like, you will have opportunities to monetize without even monetizing your audience. You'll have people that will come to you to ask to write articles, to do ghostwriting, to manage their own Twitter business account and things like that. So these are good ways to monetize without monetizing your audience.
Wait,
but
can I jump in right there? Can I jump in right? Or actually, no. Maybe you should finish your thought. I'll remember mine. You keep going.
That's pretty much like kind of the gist of it. And then monetize a bit later on. Don't be greedy. Provide the value for enough consistent time that you're certain that you're going to stick to it as well. Because if you start a newsletter, you should commit to do at least 20 issues. If you're starting a YouTube video, YouTube content, you should commit to do 50 YouTube videos, no less. If you say, I'm going to do 5-10 videos to see how it works, believe me, in 5-10 videos, you're going to be a little bit better than now, but you're still going to be shit. Commit to 50, I think, at least. And then over time, opportunities will come. Don't try to monetize too early.
Dude, let me fucking just. I don't have the mic drop sound yet, but like, that was some fucking serious stuff. John Ronan, bro, bro is fucking brilliant. KELANO's fucking brilliant, and I just want to not even echo, but I want to give some real world examples to kind of the stuff he was just talking about, because there are people who are like, man, like, I know it sounds really good, but like, it can't happen to me. Let me tell y'all a real story. How I got into NFTs. And KELANO probably knows the story because he remembers the Oogaverse days. So if you guys are here from the Oogaverse days, shout out to y'all, because that was like middle of 2021, August, September, somewhere around there. It's like literally 2 years ago. And I had done a bunch of review videos and was not monetized yet. Didn't even think about monetizing. It wasn't even on my radar to monetize videos. I was just trying to make a name for myself and do videos because that's what I like doing. And I was like, man, if I can get a few hundred views, like, I can probably become someone or something. I don't fucking know. So I just started making videos. That's all I thought about. So I started posting videos, did like probably like 10 reviews. I was the only person doing reviews, the only person doing podcasts, the only person really doing NFT market updates. Then, a few of the other YouTubers started making them just to start branch out their content from just like top 5 coins and top 5 NFTs. So I'm making all these review videos. Company hits me up, says, yo, we got a project too. We like your honest reviews. We'll pay you to do an honest review. And I was like, really? They're like, yeah. And I was like, you'll pay me to do an honest review? They're like, yeah, we'll send you the money up front. And I was like, okay. And I was like, $300. They're like, bet. And literally I was just like, whoa. And so that was my first entry. And then after doing a few more, I made a video at Oogaverse, and I was like, yo, love your videos, but here's my honest opinion. Here's where you guys can need some work. And that's just from a perspective of a consumer. And I'm also interested in the project. I like y'all. So I post that video, think nothing of it. I wake up the next morning with a DM from Oogaverse saying, yo, we want you on the team. Join as a lead analyst. Join as the Twitter and branding and marketing, join as basically like a mod and a CM inside their Discord, and just helped out build out their framework in the beginning. And that came randomly. It wasn't even like trying to mod. It was just trying to put out quality stuff that I felt like was necessary. Now, it won't always happen like that. There was also like 10 years of me trying to do YouTube that you guys didn't see, from 2009 to 2021, where I took L's every single time. My videos got 13 views every time. And then to like finish up this idea here, is that 2 years ago that started, right? And the other day, maybe like a couple months ago, I get hit up by my friend Matt, who does like a bunch of UGC content and stuff. He goes, dude, we want to do just like some honest reviews on like some stocks. And I was like, I haven't really done stocks. I don't know about that. And he was like, no, but just try one. And so like we did one. They're paid. Like that's nice. And I realized that for 2 years, I've been setting myself up to be so good at just quickly doing reviews and like figuring out where the real nuggets are and like how to put together the video, that I can do some of these paid videos in like the snap of a fucking finger, and they're high quality. And then like to add on to that, I got like ChatGPT now, which is helping me with prompts. ChatGPT helped me with hooks, and I can say, yo, take this like 4 second or 4 sentence segment and make it better, and it'll make it better. And I'm like, wow, it's the 2 years of building my skill set that made me someone that is like a well-rounded person to do this kind of job. And that's kind of, I think, what you were trying to get at, is like you got to build those skills over time, and then the opportunity sort of will just fall into your lap.
100%, man. Like I've been building my skills, for I'm 36 now, so I've been building my skills for the best part of the last 15 years without trying to build my skills. I've just got like a natural thirst for learning and testing new shit. Like just let me give you a very small kind of like backstory. I came to the UK. I was 22, and I finished uni, and I wanted to go to do like some programming coding school at the time. So I was a bit of a geek, I thought I'm going to be programming games, but that was 2008, and it was the financial recession. So I didn't get my loan. It was a private school, pretty expensive. Didn't get the loan. I come from a no money background, so long story short, no money. So I decided to kind of move to the UK to learn English. And, this whole journey of where I'm here, to me, started because of this failure of not getting my bank loan in the first place and not being able to go to that school. And I had to kind of like take a gap here originally. And I decided, I don't speak English, so let me move to an English speaking country, which was England. It's next to where I'm from, France, and then I started working in retail. And the reason why I wanted to work in retail was very specific. It was either retail or hospitality. If you want to learn, you worked in hospitality, I know it. So, you had so many foreigners, I bet, in your workplace, because they all want to be facing customers all day, right? Or guests, or, for the restaurants. And, what I learned there, I learned the fear. I learned how to overcome fear of talking in public, and now I'm hosting spaces, right? But that skill of being so comfortable talking to anyone and being confident that I can handle that conversation comes from that experience where, I wanted to learn English, and I was facing people who were speaking English. I wasn't even speaking English, right? But I was so confident that, I can handle that conversation, even if I speak like with the strongest French accent, and my vocabulary at the time was so limited, and I had to do this over and over, repetition, day in and day out. And I worked in retail for like 5 or 6 years in total, and that built the skills that I'm using today to have this conversation with you and be confident that, we don't have a prep, for those who don't know, we don't have a question list. We haven't rehearsed this talk, and we're both confident because we've built that skill of being able to talk to people in general, I guess. And that, I've started doing this 15 years ago. So like build your skills first, don't be in a rush. And then, if you're good enough, like nothing can stop a good man. You know what I mean? Nothing can stop a good man. If you're good enough, things will come to you. You don't even have to look for it. The stars will align, and then things will come to you, and you will just be able to connect the dots and say, oh, I can make money from this, and then just dive into that and give it your 110%.
Dude, that's some serious fucking, that's some serious game. And also something I want to highlight, because this is something, I had a moment here when I was like 20. It's probably near the very beginning of my YouTube, but it was someone who had reached out who was a bit older. They were probably 15 years older than me, way more successful, basically where I was trying to be. And I was just kind of like asking for like advice, like just general thoughts on stuff. And I think I like asked something along the lines of like, you think I'm going to make it? And like almost like a joke. And he like said something that kind of, and I don't even remember if it was to me or if it was in a podcast. Either way, it hit me. And it was, and in the context is like, if you're watching this and you're like, man, I'm 15, I'm 20, I'm 30, I'm 40, however old you are, it doesn't really matter. But you're thinking like, man, I feel like I got it, but like it hasn't happened yet. I don't know. I hope I make it. I just don't know. Like, do I have what it takes, or am I going to get to the end and I don't win? And the thing he said was like, look, if like, as long as you don't just stop if you're on this path and you even care to ask that question, more than likely you will, because everyone who got here had to have that mentality, and everyone who you're thinking about that didn't get there, they either quit or they just didn't have the same questions that you're asking. And that's pretty much it. On a long enough time scale, if you don't stop, you will get to whatever that is. And even when you get there, it'll probably not be at all what you wanted or thought it was going to be when you first started. Like pretty much nothing panned out the way I thought it was going to. Everything I thought was going to happen in 2021 did not happen. Yet I'm still here. And you're right. It's the skills and the confidence you pick up that allows me to surf every wave. You know, like I talked to Greg Norman, the CEO of Jupiter Project at the time, who launched Boonji and a few other projects. He was a super established businessman in the real world. And he kind of said that same thing. He's like, dude, you as you get older, you literally just get better and you get more money and you get more confidence and you can do stuff. You rack up experiences so you don't realize the monster you're going to be in 10 years. And when you're there in 10 years, he's like, it's just different. So just don't stop. And so I just wanted to highlight that because you kind of mentioned that. And I just wanted to like drill it in there because I know people who are watching are on that same wavelength. And a lot of people who are my age or maybe a few years older than me are probably having those same thoughts. Like, man, I've been trying really hard. I just haven't had my break. Guys, I've never had a big break like that. Like you hear in stories where they're like, this thing happened. And then boom, I shot to the top of the mountain. It's like, that's what happened to me. I've had these small wins that have accumulated and gotten me like smaller, bigger wins and things like that. But I just wanted to highlight that. And also, I wanted to move into a new topic here, sort of, just because it's interesting because it's like a current event. So yesterday, Voltura, founder of PA, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because you're in PA, your PFP is a Psychedelic Anonymous, and a lot of people freaked out because he essentially was like, what are y'all's thoughts on moving the project over to like a community-led thing? And people freaked out because they're like, oh my God, he doesn't want to lead the project. When in reality, Voltaire was just doing what everyone in the community was like talking about in the Discord. They're like, yo, like just like having discussion basically about it. Nothing crazy bad or toxic, just discussion about it. So he puts out the tweet, thinking nothing of it probably, and the entirety of Twitter freaks out because Doodles, because the other projects that were surrounded by it. What are your thoughts on that? And also, what are your thoughts on like a business perspective for the Psychedelic Anonymous and Voltaire and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think it's a tough one, because like first of all, it's my PFP, and I really like my actual PFP. So regardless of the floor price, I've committed to it, and I'm just not going to change it. I bought it for, well, actually, I bought this one for 0.6, so I'm only down 66% right now. But I bought my first PEA at the time it was like $8,000. So let's not check how much it is. I sold it for much less. So yeah, I'm down bad on PA financially speaking, but I'm up really well on community and opportunities. So I guess it's a trade. But yeah, that's not even the point. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's really tough because I feel like Volterra is a really good marketer. But he's not necessarily. I mean, he's a really good Web2 marketer, and he clearly had a fantastic. And when you speak to the guy, I mean, I know you had him on the podcast. I also had him on the Binance Spaces, and like he's a fantastic person to speak to. He's very smart, really eloquent, really well spoken, and he can align his ideas really well. He's a fantastic person to listen to. But like I feel like he's not necessarily understood like what Web3 founders need to do, in terms of like community presence. Because yes, he's got one of the bigger accounts. He's got like 200K followers. But most of those big followers come from the Q4 2021 bull run, right? He's got like, for maybe 10K followers in the last 3 months, right? I feel like he's a fantastic person at doing branding, marketing for the project to launch in the bull run scenario. But I don't think he's necessarily made that switch to bear market life, where, you have to be in the trenches, you have to be a public figure a lot more than what he is. And you see it, all the founders who were doing this, Lucas from Pudgy, Wad from the Seals, etc. All these kind of projects who have like super vocal founders who are opinionated in public and are there all the time, hopping on spaces. Like Frank is probably the best example I can think of like a very public founder, right? And building in public, right? And PA has notoriously been pretty private, from their building, from like whatever they're building. I think that's costing them a lot in this current market condition, because people don't, and also I feel like the ecosystem is overly complicated. I've only ever
Yeah.
owned a Genesis. I think I had one pass at one point, but with the mindset of flip it. And it's just too complicated, right? Why would I get like component 1, 2, 3 and all that stuff? I've been a PA for a long time, and these days I don't really know what the utility of those like secondary collections are.
Mm.
I think you can burn them to get like some potential win lottery stuff, etc. But it's not really clear. So I think they are in a really bad spot in terms of what worked for them in the bear market is not working right now, and they kind of left with like a lot in their arms. Like they have all these secondary collections that no one gives a toss about. Let's be real, right?
Yep.
And it's kind of dragging the Genesis down, right? So that would be one thing that I would say is doing them a disservice right now. The second thing is like the trade marketplace. It sounds really cool, and people who are deep into PA are having fun with it. But the reality is, why would you pay expensive for a specific NFT, like kind of done, when you can just buy an NFT from the floor and go and change it to what you really want with specific trades, right? So the floor NFTs have no real intrinsic value, right? Because they don't really have specific trades that are in demand. So they are never going to be expensive. And because
Mm.
people will just buy any NFT and change it to whatever they want by buying those trades, then all the bottom 60% of the collection have basically no real value anymore, right? And I think like as cool as the innovation is, I think it actually really hurts the bottom of the collection, the floor price level, because then there is no real value in getting those NFTs anymore. So that's just my 2 cents. But yeah, I think that's probably why they're in a bad spot. And regarding his announcement from yesterday, I had not actually seen it, to be honest. But
Deleted
yeah,
it.
that's interesting. So why did he say what about having community-led project instead of him being at the helm,
Yeah, it's
basically?
like handed over to the community. But it was one of those things that he put it out because they were talking about it in Discord. So he just put his thoughts out. And I think he just jumped the gun. Like I think it was obviously like not the right timing to make that kind of tweet out there. But also it's just the fact that like if you're not active on Twitter and then you only come on and then just say that, it's like like bro, you get active on Twitter first so that not every tweet you say matters so much, right? Like and the thing with Vault is like that man could just he could start today. He could just start jumping in spaces today. He's got so much prominence that he could become Frank. Like I swear to God, he could become Frank in 1 month. Like he literally could have that much power because every tweet he has holds value. Because like for a long time it was just GM, 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 and then it would be like big
Exactly.
post, and people would go, "Whoa!" So he's still got that. He just needs to like acknowledge that he's got it, and like he could literally fucking bring this project back. Like I swear to God, he could just do it by being more active on Twitter. And who knows if he wants to do that? Maybe he needs to get some help on the Twitter side or whatever it is. But dude, I was really interested to hear your thoughts on that because you've got such a big business background and marketing background, all that stuff. But also you're deep in the Web3 world, obviously working with Binance. So that was cool hearing your thoughts on that. What are you hoping to see from PA in the future? Are you hoping that they, in a sense, give in to what's the current state of the market, which is you have to get into Twitter, you have to be active and build a community there? Because a lot of the things that PA did, which you're talking about, those secondary collections, worked because that's what people wanted at the time. And I talked to Minnie about this, who's the founder of Zenapes, and she was like, dude, we had this shit on like the roadmap that like everyone wanted. And so we started building. It's gonna take 6 months. 4 months in, they're like, oh, we don't even want this anymore. But like we want it, but like not really. So like, the 6 months goes by, they send it out, nobody fucking wants it. And she was like, that's the problem, is like what are we even doing? Like other than just building the brand, which is what we, if you're watching my channel in 2021, that's the only thing, that's literally what I said in every single video. I was like, guys, the only thing that matters is you guys build the brand. That's it. And that's why I spent so much time with Ugaverse doing that. And that's the reason they're still alive, in my opinion, today, is because they had so much brand, whatever foundation for the first 6 months that a lot of projects just didn't do. And like, they're pretty much all gone at this point. And now the projects that are winning are the ones that are doing that. The project founders that understand that. And they're just out there basically doing what influencers do on like fitness influencers on Instagram. They're posting cool content. They're being a little bit controversial, and everyone in the community is raising each other up. That's pretty much it. Now, the difference is there's a little bit of a financial incentive with these NFTs, but it doesn't seem to be affecting certain projects. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the PA? What do you hope for them for the future?
It's a tough question, but I think we know NFTs is a game of attention, and it's funny. I read some, like, I think it was punk statistic or like NFT statistic. It's punk 5909 or something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's got a punk NFT statistic.eth. I think that's the guy's name. And he put out some like data on the floor price movement based on hype of pre-announcement. So hey, we've got something big coming. We will announce it next week.
Yep.
And during those 7 days leading to the announcement, the floor price tends to increase. And then most of the time, when there is the actual announcement, the floor price decreases, right? So that's the classic buy the rumor, sell the news, right? And that's very true in finance, in any kind of market. The rumor is often more beneficial to a floor price movement than the actual announcement. Because let's be real, NFT utility is cat piss. It's nothing right now. There is no real tangible utility that we can all use in every country, right? Because most of the utility is going to be, or you can come to VCon. Well, cool story. I'm in fucking Japan. I'm in fucking Europe. I need to spend $3,000 to come to the USA, get hosting or hotel, etc. So a lot of utilities are going to be very US focused, because it's just difficult to have utility worldwide, right? So, the news is often like less interesting than the actual rumor. So I think like the difficult challenge, for things like PA is to create more rumor, right? Because the product has been very transparent on their actual utility. They try to do this mental health support for holders. I think it's been canceled now because no one really wanted to use it. It sounded all great, in theory, like, oh yeah, mental support for the holders. That's fantastic. We love it. Free health support.
I would have used that shit. If I would have used that shit, probably, dude.
My God. Then when you check the data, like it was like something like after a month, like something like 250 people had used it, and there's like 6,000 holders, right? So it's all well and good to want to make utility for holders, but it's very difficult, right? But I think, what they have to focus on is catching the attention, right? Because that's the only currency that really matters. And if there is any fan of Gary Vee in the audience, they will know Gary Vee is talking all the time about that. The currency is attention, nothing else, And it's not just for NFTs, it's for most businesses, Like if you look at a brand like Supreme or like Yeezy, what they're good at is catching attention and making things feel like they are very scarce, right? And that's the challenge. If you can do that, then you're going to have floor price movement in a positive way, right? And also, I think, like it's probably difficult with PA from like a graphic standpoint, but like embracing the meme world is very, very important in Web3, And there is a reason why Pudgy Penguin has like the meme machine. Well, like Sappy Seals has the meme machine. Pudgy Penguin have the GIF. Their Giphy page. And I'm talking about that like 3 months ago. So maybe it's double now. But the Giphy page, and I looked it up like 2 or 3 months ago, had over 1 billion views. Not 1 million, 1 billion. Whoa. So let me Google it right now, actually.
Holy shit. Okay, hold on. While you're Googling that, I was going to say, while you're Googling that and finding that, I was going to say, guys, if you want to win a free NFT, I have to look in my wallet. I forgot to pick one up yesterday, but I'm going to give away a small NFT. If you guys are watching this, you guys know I love bringing you guys some extra, anything extra. I mean, if y'all are watching on Twitch, you guys are winning money every 10 minutes. You literally, all you have to do is be in Twitch and you can win money. All you have to do is sit there and watch, and you every 10 minutes you earn 100 points. You can exchange those points for opportunities to win cash prizes. But if you want to win a free NFT, it might be a Shredding Sassy. I forget which NFT it was going to be, but all you have to do is screenshot wherever you're at. If you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, if you're on LinkedIn, I don't care where you're, Twitter video even, I don't care where you are at, screenshot where you're at. Obviously be following me and KELANO, because I can't DM you if you're not. So be sure you're following both of us, and retweet the space. Bottom right corner, there's a message icon. It might say 1. I'm not sure what number it'll say, but bottom right corner, hit that retweet. If you've been enjoying the space at all, just hit that retweet, because we want to get this conversation to more people. But if you want to participate in the giveaway, smash the retweets, be following us, screenshot wherever you're watching it, and tweet at us, tag us so I see it, and I'll be choosing the winner in a few minutes here. But yeah, I just wanted to bring, obviously, guys, the conversation is honestly done tremendous value in my opinion, but obviously I want to bring a little bit of a degen fun. So anyways, did you find the statistic?
Yeah, 2.1 million views on their Giphy page right now. So oh
my God.
And you know how smart it is, right? Because it's on Giphy, it can be used natively on Twitter, right? And that also means people on like Snapchat or whatever can also use Pudgy Penguin, and they're just fucking cute, right? So there's many people who don't know anything about Pudgy who are using it, right? And then some, like even if 1% of those people find out about Pudgy and then go on and see, oh, wow, their Genesis is like 5 ETH. Let me just buy their second collection. It's like 0.6 or 0.5 or whatever, and that's like genius move, right? And then like Sappy Seals, they have their meme machine. You know how cool it is to make an infinite amount of memes with your actual NFT. Like you can literally choose what memes you're going to make. And, as a content creator, you can make memes and participate in the ecosystem to bring out more memes, right? This is a genius move, right? That just catches attention. Every SAPCL is just posting memes in the comments with their own fucking PFP
and I didn't even really, to be honest, like, and I shout out Wob, like I love the project, but at the beginning I didn't really fuck with the art that much. It was like too cute almost, where I was like, but Pudgy Penguins I always thought was cool. But seeing the amount of influence and prominence we've seen on Twitter makes me want a Sappy seal, even though I still don't really like the art that much. I don't know what it is, but the seal that I don't care for as much. Like if I had to choose between a penguin and a seal, I'd pick the penguin just from an art perspective. But I want a Sappy seal because of how much I've seen them do that. And I think you're right. There's a way you can do it because, I mean, look at Frank. I mean, the reason DGods and Use is doing so well is because of Frank. Let's be honest, one of the main reasons. But you can still make it a thing and make a way to where it'll work in your own way. DGods and Utes aren't cute projects. They're not Pudgy Penguins at all. Yet they've got a strong support, and they still find ways to do memes and shit like that. And, like Frank's a master at it, but like everyone will change their profile picture to Frank's one for like a day. It's like the funniest shit. Like there's a way to do it. And Volt has got he's just so good at marketing that it's like, he just needs to commit to doing it. And I think they could do a great job. And I would be very interested to see. I hope he watches this podcast. Whoever's going to be editing this, make sure you clip that bit and I can send it to him or something, because I would love to see Psychedelic Anonymous back on the map as one of those top projects. I think they should be, and I think they could be for sure.
I think they can make a way back, because they have a smart team, and it's very public that they have a lot of money available. They've been really smart cashing out ETH in the middle of the bull market. So they probably have like 6 million left in their bank account, right? So they have enough runway to go on for years, and they have smart people. So hopefully, because my bags are down big time, so I hope I can get my overall bags up a little bit. That would be nice. So yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Hell yeah! And I'm just gonna scroll through here to make sure I don't miss anything. So if you guys don't know, I literally am doing the a Kid Called Beast giveaway, and that's a huge giveaway, by the way. It's pinned at the top, but it's taking over all my notifications. So I'm hoping I don't miss this. So be sure 100% you need to tag me. Otherwise, I will 100% not see your entry for this giveaway during this podcast. But yeah, if you guys want to enter that giveaway, retweet the space, be following us, and tag us and tweet us a screenshot of wherever you're watching this. All you have to do to join, and you could win a free NFT, motherfuckers. Anyways, I got some extra questions here. What's that?
I was saying, who does not want free NFTs? Fucking jump on that giveaway.
That's what I'm saying. You guys know I'm gonna do you guys a solid. I'm not gonna give you guys a dead project NFT. There's gonna be a project where if you want to get out of it and make a little bit of cash, you can. It could be a project where there's sales. It's not gonna be some dead ass NFT from 2021. Even though low key, there are some projects like I don't know if you remember DAO Turtles, but there's some projects that got like cut back in 2021 that got like deleted from OpenSea that I think hold like historic value, and I love seeing it in my wallet because I'm like, damn. I remember you motherfuckers. Y'all were gonna take me to the moon, and there's like a tiny little part of me that thinks they're gonna get relisted one day, like 3 years from now, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my god!" So I'm praying to God that fucking happens. But anyways, let's stay on this current trend, on this current what's been going on, because it's so relevant and because people have so many opinions on it. And I would be very interested to hear yours before I dive into the world of degens and see the million different opinions on it. But recently we had a bunch of CloneX holders, I guess, get their close. They weren't exactly stoked for it. And I saw a lot of FUD, a few massive tweets that came out saying, fuck this project. They made me wait like a year for the close. It's not even good. I'm out. And they were backed by Nike. That's a pretty crazy thing. And then we saw Doodles come out and say, yo, we're not an NFT project at all. We're a media company. Which, in my opinion, we already knew that shit. They've already been going in that direction and trending in that direction for a long time. They've never cared about price action. When I interviewed Poopy from Doodles, the founder, who actually put out that tweet or put out that Discord notification that went viral on Twitter, he said that from the beginning. When I first interviewed him in 2021, he was like, listen, we have a different mindset. We're from Dapper. Like, we're OG as fuck. 2017, like, we're here for the culture. Like, that's why CryptoKitties has 2 million NFTs. That's why Doodles 2 is going to have millions of NFTs. We just don't care about price action the same way people do. And I think it's because they're so natively Web3. What are your thoughts on that? How good or how bad is the project? How good or bad is that for the project short term versus long term? Would love to know your thoughts on short to long term.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. And like the problem with these kind of projects is that when they get funding, it becomes really difficult to focus on floor price, right? Because investors have a very different goal as holders in general, right? And there is usually a lot of friction happening. So you mentioned another project a second ago outside of Doodle.
Clonex.
Clonex, yeah, obviously Clonex, they got acquired by Nike. That's obviously one of the bigger acquisitions you can get in the world, I guess, right now. But realistically, Nike doesn't care about you as a holder, right? Nike cares about selling more units. They're not giving merch away. Let's be very clear. Clonex holders have to pay for those merch, and they're not cheap, right? And like delivering merch as an NFT project is very, very complicated. I actually spoke to Voltura about that, and you have to understand, when you are an NFT project, you have NFT holders all over the world, right? And that means you're going to have shipping costs that are going to be absolutely crazy. Logistic to get those people, shipped, their stuff shipped in Canada, Colombia, Japan, Africa, and stuff like that. So it's going to be very, very complicated. So it's just like very difficult from a VC back when you're VC backed, like your priorities as a project have to change, and that's just not always going to align with NFT holders, right? Because NFT holders, what they want to see the price section go up, or they want to get free stuff, right? VC, they want to make money from those holders, so they want to sell them stuff, right? Like one thing that I always say as well that people don't really understand is that NFT is a really difficult business because it's one of the only few businesses where to gain a new customer, you're very likely to have to lose a current customer, right? Because it's someone selling their NFT or someone who has maybe a few different, like a whale can sell and can increase the customer count, the holder count. But in general, someone selling their NFT means there is a new buyer. So it's only an exchange of one-on-one, right? The actual holder count doesn't necessarily change too much over time. Like maybe a few % up or down, but not really too much, right? So it's a very difficult business to grow. And that's why all these collections like Yuga Lab, they have to keep releasing new collections because they are here to expand the ecosystem, right? Their goal is to get 30, 50, 100,000 player playing the game whenever it comes out, right? So to do that, they have to get more units out. So that's why other deal is 100K, or 200K. I think it's going to be 200K in the final form, I guess, right? So like it's very difficult when you have projects that have so much money or so much influence. Like they are not really going to be focusing on holders in terms of price action benefits, and also, it's just very difficult to maintain hype over time. You know how many projects reach 20 ETH and are now down to sub 5 ETH, and it really shows the strength of Yuga and I guess CryptoPunk, which is also now Yuga, ironically, to maintain the 70 ETH, 60 to 70 ETH range, right? It's absolutely crazy. Like there is, I don't know if you remember, what is it? It's like another Kong something that went to 200 ETH. Cyberkongs, it went to 200 ETH for like a very short time period because obviously people were earning bananas, right?
It was also because Alex Becker, Elio Trades, all the biggest influencers were telling everyone how much they were making every single second that they could, which I mean, I would have probably too, because I would have been like, I literally just struck gold. So no fault to them. But like, that's literally what happened. I mean, they just had so much attention.
To be honest, when I got my UGAs, it's the only time it's one of the very few times I actually made a call on Twitter because I thought, guys, I am making $1,500 a day on this stuff.
Me too.
You guys need to get in,
that.
And I was telling my best friend, listen, I told my best friend, hey, you got to buy this stuff, man. He's not into NFT. He's been telling me, oh, I want to get into it, but just like, let me know when there is something good and I'll just get involved, And I was like, okay, cool. I'll just let you know. And then this Ugaverse comes out. I get like one Maker Ape and I got like 4 or 5 of the small ones. So I invested like 0.1 or 0.2, some really small number. And I tell him, listen, you got to get into this, man. It's point two. I'm telling you, it's going to be crazy. And he said, okay, I'll check it when I come from work later. And by the evening, it was 1 ETH. you know. So then he went to 1.5 and it's like, should I still get in? I was like, I don't know. Me, I'm getting out. But you do what you want. you know, so that was my best thing. Yeah, you know, like to go back to the original question, I think there is a big misalignment between VC funding and holder sentiment, you know. And I think all these companies, the more VC funding they have, the more money they will have to extract from their holders instead of giving to their holders, you know. And I think giving back to the holders is a small project privilege, you know. And as soon as you tend to become like a big brand, that's going to disappear, you know, because you cannot constantly give to the holders because there is no more secondary, there's no more royalty revenue. Okay, so that revenue is gone. And so you have to develop other revenue streams, right? Royalty is 2021, 2022 privilege. It's gone now. So now what other streams of revenue do they have? Well, it's selling more stuff to the holders, right? They cannot be giving things to the holder anymore. That's just not going to work financially speaking. So I think that's the problem. You know, the bigger you get, you have to start extracting money from your holders.
Yeah, and this is a great fucking point. I'm so glad you said it this way too, because for people who are watching, I know some of y'all are Royalgers in here. Royalgers meaning you hold one of my access key NFTs, my photography pieces. There's only 46, I believe, that are available. There's only been 46 for the last 2 years. I dropped it in July of 2021 as not a joke, but like as an experiment to see if my art would sell, because I wasn't even trying to do, like, it wasn't even supposed to be anything other than just art pieces. And then when YouTube started, I said, bet, I already have 2 NFT projects technically. I'll just turn these photography pieces into like my brand sort of. And I was like, look guys, I don't know what's going to come from this. All I can tell you is I'm not going to stop making content, and I plan on being one of the biggest content creators in this world, whatever it ends up turning into. And now that we've been here for 2 years, I see the world expanding even more. Metaverse stuff, we have VR stuff, augmented reality, tech, all that whole world is kind of all mingled together. And I'm like, look, I'm going to be one of the top people in that world. All I can promise you is that like that's going to happen, and I'm going to keep the project small. And if you have one of these, that's all I can really tell you. You guys can make your own assumptions what that means. But dude, you're right. As far as like, dude, for people who don't know, I was able to give free clothes, shipping included, everything included, to like I forget what it was, maybe like a year ago, to all my holders, because there was only 40 at the time or whatever it was. And if there was 500, I literally could not do that. I don't have enough money or resources to fucking do that. But it's possible when you have a small project. And that's why with content creators especially, I'm like, yo, if it's possible for you, I think it's a cool idea to have, 10 to 50 NFTs that are like that, more of like a small community thing. And you say, look, you guys, this is like your chance to grow with me, basically. That's all it is. Whatever it turns into would be cool. Like imagine if Rogan had done that when he first started the podcast and he said there's 100 of these. If you like my podcast, that's all I can tell you. And 5 years later, here's where he's at, and now we can do these crazy things like y'all are seeing right now. There's giveaways on giveaways on giveaways on my channel now, because part of the money I'm getting from Bet Fury, I throw that right back in the business to do giveaways and to blow up the stream more, just because it's good for everybody. And you already know, if you're in my Discord, especially if you're an access key holder, you guys have much higher chances of winning, and that's just a benefit of me being me and the fact that they're my NFTs. But when you have a big project, it is very fucking difficult. And you're so right. There's only so much you can do, and there's only so much you can give back. It has to become a joint effort between the two to want to be there and to want the project to go up. And the problem is right now, if the floor price is up, everyone's happy. And it doesn't matter if everything else is shit. But if the floor price is down and everything is great, it doesn't matter at all either, because it's a floor price. So it's a really fucking tough dichotomy. What do you think is going to be the thing? Is it even possible to get out of that mindset at this point? What do you think?
So what's the real question there? Like, is it possible for holders to come out of this mindset, or is it possible for big projects to keep giving to holders?
Well, we know it's not possible. There's no way they could keep, and plus from a business perspective, it doesn't make any sense to just keep doing it forever. So like, is there any way for the big project, the big PFP projects? Because in my opinion, the projects that are going to survive are going to be the Web2 companies that come in, like the UFC or Gymshark, and have a Web3 initiative, like Starbucks just did, like a lot of these big companies have done. That makes way more sense and has a lot more legs. I'm much more interested in talking to those people than I am the PFP projects, even though they hold a dear place in my heart. That's going to be a tough road. Like, what do you think for those big PFP projects? Are they?
Yeah, I think PFP projects are going to be a very niche portion of the NFT space in not so long, if I'm honest. I think in like 24 months, the PFP landscape is going to be a smaller portion of the overall NFT space than it is now in terms of like percentage, because it's just not really sustainable, right? It's like basketball card collectors, right? Or magic collectors, or like Pokemon card collectors. There's only a maximum amount of in people interested in that, and it's very, very small, right? Realistically, compared to, I don't know, like people who collect stamps, like when I was a kid, collecting stamps was somehow a big thing, but no one cares about collecting stamps these days, right? And I feel like right now the PFP is kind of like that exact same thing where, back then people, like right now we are at the future back then, I guess, and people are like in the novelty kind of thing, right? But like there is only so many people interested in trading JPEGs, right? And we have on average 300 to 500 new NFT collections dropping out every day, even in this current market. So like, there is more demand than there is more supply than there is demand, right? So I think overall, like, we may see another NFT PFP bull run, but I just don't think that's sustainable, And for me, where is NFT going to be heading? It's going to be more towards using the technology of the blockchain to make, big brands coming into just like Starbucks. You mentioned, I think they're doing it really well. And they are going to be leading the front, and a lot of other companies are going to adopt like a similar strategy. But PFP projects are dying, that's just the plain truth. And just like you, I love PFP projects. I've got a PFP, you've got a PFP, and you're rocking it, and you're part of that community. But why have we not seen, even in the peak of the bull run, why have we not seen PFPs project launch more than 10K collection? Right? Because before, CryptoPunk was, I think it's 10K as well. And then, for a long time between CryptoPunk and Bored Ape, it was much smaller collections. It was not 10K, right? Bored Ape came out, they did really well. They inspired the 10K collection movement. But now you never really, like, even these days, if you see a 10K collection coming out, you're already a bit skeptical in 2023. You're like, ooh, 0.1 to a 10K collection. Whoa, I'm just going to see how the mint goes out, right?
Yeah.
And it's either going to be botted or, influencer shield, and that's why it sells out. But, we haven't really seen 15, 20, 30K collections kind of work out. The only 20K collection that I know have worked out is Lil Pudgy and Mutant. These are the only ones that are actually, well, obviously Mutant is, Bored Ape follow up, so that works out good. And Pudgy is following up the main collection as well. So the only two 20K collections that I know are working out well are secondary collections, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong, I just don't know any collection of 20K that is currently above 1 ETH or 2 ETH, Maybe there are some, but
not that many people. There's just simply not that many people here. I can think of V Friends with 50K in their secondary collection, but Gary Vee's another fucking monster. He's got a massive audience, not in the Web3 NFT world, and he made it easy for normal people to be able to buy NFTs, I think, and do a lot of education. But that's why I've stuck to so much educational content. Yeah, exactly. And for people who watch my channel, especially on Twitter, I post a lot of shorts now. You guys probably noticed a difference in my content. I'm really pummeling down blockchain right now. Like I'm pretty much figuring out a way to string blockchain technology concepts much more than I'm talking about NFTs. Like the other day I made a video and I started the video with like a Bored Ape on the screen. And I was like, do you hate NFTs like this? Keep watching, or some stupid hook like that. And then the rest of the video was like y'all are missing the point. Like these NFTs are right. They're so niche. They're so small. It doesn't mean they're not going to have some success within that small market in the same way that someone bought a $1 million Charizard. Like there'll be a market. It just might not be big, but the blockchain technology, if you're trying to have opportunities, you're trying to make content about that stuff, because the companies are like going to be watching. They're trying to get into Web3, but they're thinking, man, we can't do a monkey picture project. We don't know what to do. And then they see your video and they go, oh, wait, maybe I don't need to do that. I just need to adopt this blockchain stuff. Let me talk to this person. How can we do this in a way where it might work? And then if you've been in NFTs for a while, you go, well, take a look at Starbucks. Take a look at these other companies have done it. I can help you. Now you just fucking landed a job. So like that's why I started to do that kind of content. I'm trying to work with these companies. I don't know what level I want to work with them because my time is kind of like strapped right now, but that's kind of why I've done that. So I totally agree with you. The blockchain technology is way more of a sell, and it makes so much business sense. And right now, if y'all are in NFT land and y'all are trying to like be here full time, you need to think about this from a business sense, because in the degen world, it is a very minute spot, and a lot of them just don't have money.
Yeah. And it's just not scalable, right? Maybe like there is less than 200K active traders. Like Blur. Let me give you some example, right? So at Binance, we look at a lot of data, and like we have like dashboards, and what I'm going to tell you is not. I mean, it's blockchain verifiable, so we just have the dashboards put together by someone in the team, but none of that data is private, so I can tell you with complete freedom. So like OpenSea, up to 6 months ago, had like 85% market share in terms of volume, right? And right now, because of the Blur farming, Blur has actually overtaken, I think that's how you say it, overtaken OpenSea for a full month for the first time last month, right? And they've now gotten like 50 or 60% of the overall volume. But if you look at the actual volume of NFT, there is a big increase in total volume, not because OpenSea has done less volume, but because Blur has done more volume, right? So the total volume combined is much higher this month and last month compared to like 2 or 3 months ago. And people are like, wow, we're back. Look at the volume. It's crazy. It's going up. Let me tell you a fun fact. Blur is now the number one market share in terms of volume, right? But they have like 60% volume last month. But in terms of active users, they've only got 15 or 20%, right? And that's because people are farming the Blur package, right? So volume is really high. Here we go. Volume is really high, but user count is actually not that high. And Blur, to date, has 146,000 users. That's not a lot, 146,000 users. And now everybody is saying, oh, check Blur, the floor is on Blur, which is true, right? But they have 150K users to date, that is literally peanuts. You know what I mean? Like Binance processes $1 billion of transaction every day without a sneeze. You know what I mean? And that's crypto. I'm not even talking about the S&P 500. The S&P 500 processes 50 billion or 100 billion transaction a day, right? And we're looking at, we're happy we have $9 million, $10 million of transaction volume in NFT, and most of that is done by Franklin and Mackie, So funny enough, another stat to just tell you how small the NFT space is actually right now. So out of that total volume, 20% of the volume is done by 15% of the volume is done by 20 wallets, and 50% of the volume is done by 300 wallets.
Wow, that is a tiny subsection of people. Whoa, Those are some crazy numbers, guys.
Yeah. God damn. So people think like, oh, Blur, we're seeing like a big the market is going up, etc. We're like, the bull run is back. Believe me, the bull run is not back. You're just getting fooled by 200 whales who are manipulating the market to farm some packages, some airdrop from Blur, and there is another marketplace coming next week. I can't tell you who yet, but there is another marketplace launching next week, which is exactly copying the exact same system. It's not Binance, so I'm not going to tell you who it is, but you'll figure it out yourself in a week from now. And they're going to replicate the exact same model because they've seen it works. It creates volume. But realistically, there is 200 active users in the NFT space, but there is really 20, 30,000 actual people trading, actively some decent amount of money. So PFP is a very small niche market. It's going to kind of shrink down to its actual real size, in like maybe 6 months or a year. And then we'll see more interesting things happening from like a business.
Hold on.
Starbucks and all these kind of bits. Like what I'm really looking for NFT is more like, changeable metadata, things like medical records, car service records, qualification records, like what Root is doing with their job marketplace, like called Seeker, I think Seeker, you say it. I think that has like a big leg to go, like whether they will be doing it or not, that's a whole different question, right? Because it's a business, they have 90% chance of failing. But things like that, like on-chain qualification, verification, That's got like a big potential, right? But all the PFP stuff, like as much as I personally love it, it's going to be a very small portion in like a year or two from now, I think.
True. Right on. Well, listen, guys. We are soon. Well, not soon. I'm about to announce the giveaway winner for the NFT, for a free NFT. You have about 20 seconds to make that post. All you have to do is retweet the space. Be following us, of course, because I can't DM you. So be following us, retweet this space, and screenshot wherever you're at right now on Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn. I don't care where you're at, Twitter even, or Spaces. Screenshot it and tweet that shit and tag us so I can see it. And that's all you have to do to enter into this giveaway. There's only a few people who have done it, so you actually have like a pretty strong chance of winning if you do that. I'm going to give you literally 10 seconds from now because that's enough time to screenshot and tweet it and make sure you're following us. 10. Let me play what is it? This one. Oh wait, it only plays once? What the fuck? I thought that was gonna be a song. All right, well, that's a big fat L for me. I'm gonna choose the winner right fucking now, guys. You had plenty of time to do it. I'm going to start scrolling. Here we go. Mr. at Dev Kusa. Let me check you're following me. You are. Let's fucking go. Shiv Ray is his name. It looks like Dev Kusa. I'm gonna DM you right now so that I don't lose this and so some random scammer doesn't do it. But let's go. You just won a free fucking NFT. Congratulations. Let's fucking go. Super stoked for you. Again, if you want to be winning cash prizes, all you got to do is be in Twitch. With BetFury's Twitch, every 10 minutes you can earn 100 points and redeem those for cash prizes. People are winning literally every few minutes in here. It's really fucking cool. So congratulations to you. We're going to wrap up this podcast with a couple rapid fire Q&A questions. We have dropped some serious freaking heat during this conversation. I've actually literally been making notes as we've gone to like leave markers in here for my editor because I'm like, hey, do not fuck this podcast up because there's like 10 clips that I need you to have. You can find other ones, but there's these 10. You need to have these in here. So I literally made notes because there were some serious game drops. So KELANO, shout out to you. But if you're ready for it, I got some rapid fire Q&A for you. I'm really excited for it.
Go for it.
Let's fucking go. The coolest person you've interviewed on your show when you were the host, like someone that you were maybe really excited for, or the conversation ended up being cooler than you thought, whatever. Who was the coolest interview?
The coolest interview. If I would use the word coolest, I would say probably Thread Guy. He was fucking awesome to interview.
True. How about like the most? I'll use a different word. Like, I don't know. Just give me a couple. Right off like 3 people who are just some like epic fucking conversations / guests.
Yeah. So I had an awesome time interviewing Thread Guy. I think it was like super funny and really awesome dude. As a whole. Personally, someone I look up to. I interviewed NFT God, so I think it was really good to interview. And then give me 3 seconds to check my list. Actually, sure. That's all right with you know.
You got a list.
All my last one. If you know what, I think Pons was also an amazing guest as well because he's very different from the usual founder. So I didn't expect him to like be the kind of person he is. And he was very interesting dude and very smart guy.
Very cool, dude. Very cool. Who is there anyone I'm having Thread Guy on in a couple months. His fucking schedule is super busy, like beyond busy. So he'll come out at some point. Him and K Money will be coming to the show at some point. I'm really excited to get into them. That's more of a DJing crowd. But is there anyone that I should keep my eyes out for? You know that I have more of like probably a similar style of interview to you, like more business focused, more like real conversations, not as much like DJing spaces. Is there anyone that I probably haven't interviewed yet that maybe I should be looking out for or I should throw a DM at?
Good question. Let me look at my list again, if that's all right. I spoke to Farok. I think he was very interesting. Okay. If you can speak to him, I think he's a fantastic guy to talk to. And then Brett, the YouTuber as well. He's really interesting guy, very smart guy. You probably know him already.
We've had him. I think he's dope.
One person I would try to interview if I was you, because she's not too big yet and she's pretty still reachable, is Elena. The Azuki research resident. She just got hired like recently, just before Whale Swoosh. I don't know if you know her.
I don't. What's her at? I'll DM her right now. Actually,
let me tell you, Elena. Here we go. So it's Elena with 2 A at the end. So ELENAA. ETH. So in one word, no dots, right? Elena Eve, fantastic person. She does like daily recap of the markets in NFT, and she is a fantastic person. And I think she would have some amazing insight on like staying up to date with the market and all that stuff, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I
You
haven't
said, wait, did
interviewed
you
her.
spell it? You said how is it spelled? EL.
ELENAAETH.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
The one with 59K, right? Here it is.
59K.
Yeah. Cool. All right, I'm
Really?
gonna.
Damn, she was on 25K like 2 weeks ago. Shit.
What? Okay, so she must have done something that blew her up, or maybe Azuki like did some kind of, I don't know, some kind of promo thing for it. Dope. Okay, well, I
Yeah.
will shoot her a message right after this, and we'll try and secure that podcast. I'm really excited to talk to her now. I haven't really talked to anyone in the Azuki ecosystem, so thank you for that. I appreciate that little insight there because you've interviewed a ton of people. I'm always interested to talk to other podcasters and stuff like that. Here's my next question. We got two more. What do you? That's a dumb question. It's such a generic question. I was going to say the future of Web3 non-degen, but I feel like we hammered that concept down, honestly. So I'm going to more of a life question. You're out there in another part of the country. You've lived in the UK. You've lived in France. You lived in a whole bunch of different places. What's your number one, if you could just snap, if someone just said, hey, you're going to come home for a long day at work and I'm going to snap my fingers, it's just going to be there. What meal is it? What's that meal you're looking for? Is it fucking McDonald's or is it some 5-star restaurant gourmet food? What's that move? What's that meal for you?
My go-to is going to be jollof rice.
What is it? What kind of fries?
Jollof rice. So that's like an African rice. JOLLOF rice. So it's like an African rice with like a tomato sauce based and like some meat in it. It's fucking bomb. I'm a rice guy. I love rice. I could eat rice every day. So if I had to choose to eat one thing for the rest of my life, that's probably going to be that.
Damn.
And my missus does it really well as well.
Wait, what was the last part?
My missus does it really well as well. My fiance is from Nigeria, and they do it really good down there. That's like kind of the local cuisine over there, and I fucking love it, man.
Dude, that's fucking cool. I'd love that question because sometimes I get a really generic answer. Sometimes I get just a random thing that no one's heard of. I have never heard of that, so that's really cool. I'm definitely gonna Google that and check that out. Okay, actually, I want to ask one more question. So, do you have any tattoos? I feel like you maybe have tattoos.
Yeah, I have actually. I have a small triangle here. Where is it? Here.
Wait, hold on, I can't see it.
A small triangle.
Oh shit, nice. What is it?
Yeah, so
why?
it's a triangle, and it's got so the 2 points are towards my hand, and the arrow is towards me. And the reason why it's 3 points, so it's like strength, willpower, and honor. So it's my three strongest values, and the wider side is towards my hand. So when I shake my hand to someone, I take the good energy, and it flows to me. That's kind of my thing for it.
I love that. That's fucking cool. Really, hell yeah. Our final question. I want like a snap response. I don't want you to think about this one too much because if you think about it too much, we'll be here for another 20 minutes. FUD. So it's basically fuck, marry, kill game. If you've ever played that, but it's gonna be FUD, flip, or hodl. NFT Project Edition. We talked about a few different ones, so we're gonna use some of the ones that we talked about today. We're gonna go with Psychedelic Anonymous. We're gonna go with Doodles. And I think we're going to have to go with Azuki, but pretend all the floors are exactly the same right at, I don't know, 5 ETH. Pretend they're all at 5 ETH. We have, fuck me, did I already forget? Psychedelic Anonymous, Azuki, and Doodles. FUD, flip, or hodl.
Yeah. So right now, I would flip PA, I would flip Doodles, and I would hodl Azuki.
Wait, no, you have to FUD one, though. FUD one and flip one.
Well, I have to FUD one.
You gotta FUD one, but then you're gonna have to stay in the project though. Like you're gonna FUD it and still have to hold it. That's the thing, because you can only flip one of them.
Yeah. All right, I would still FUD Doodle. Because they have no community. They did not post a tweet for 35 days. I can't take it, man.
Damn. Well, that's the fucking answer, guys. Listen, this is a fucking epic podcast. There's some of y'all that have been in here since the very beginning. I see y'all's names in here. Y'all know who you are. I mean, some of y'all have been here literally since minute one. So I do appreciate y'all. If you're in the Twitch stream, I saw some people all agreeing with your answer about the jollof rice. So that's really cool that they've tried that. Bane, I see you've had it before. So shout out to all of them in there. We really appreciate it. If you're in Spaces and you enjoy this conversation, hit that retweet button, bottom right corner, and tag people like the stuff. Engage with this. The best way to support. And if you're in YouTube, smash the like button, subscribe. We got content coming out all the fucking time, multiple times a week. And final thing, dude, did you want to shout anyone out as we bring this podcast to a close?
Do I want to?
You don't have to, but if you want to shout anyone out.
Or shout anyone out. Yeah, I want to shout myself out, for trusting myself and building myself for the last 15 years, for anyone else, no need for that. But no, I just want to shout out to you because I've been watching you for over a year and a half now. And it feels surreal, because I know you are inviting me as, he's the growth manager at Binance. So it's kind of like, you're probably looking up to me in some certain way, because I have like a big job. But like I was looking up to you, for the last 18 months. And I remember the first time you responded to one of my comments. I remember the first time, well, the only time you followed me, because you haven't unfollowed me, thankfully. I remember the first time I talked to you through a seed phrase DM, and you didn't know who it was, and all that kind of things. So yeah, I want to give a big shout out to you. You've been doing honest work, in the NFT space with a lot of integrity, and yeah, just don't stop, man, because you're a golden man, and you have the funkiest glasses in Web3. So yeah, you can't. Yeah, don't stop, man. You're doing an awesome job, and it's genuinely a true honor to be your guest today. One thing I want to add as well: when we meet up, I will bring you some jollof rice made by my fiance, probably my wife by then.
Let's go, dude. Hey, thank you so much for those kind words. Dude, there's so much fun. I'm glad we finally got to talk at length and talk about some of the things. And guys, made it to the very end again. Thank you so much for being here with us. We have a podcast tonight, 8:30 p.m. PST with Dante Walker, Dante Crypto on Twitter. OG YouTuber from the Ugaverse days. KELANO, you might even know him. Dante Walker. He's in Thailand out there. That's why we're doing it at nighttime. I'm also going to be traveling to LA, so I probably can't do a podcast out there. I might be able to because it kind of just depends on the schedule. I'm hoping to get at least one episode live next week in LA. It'd be really cool because I'll be staying with Andres. But either way, guys, I will see y'all tonight at 8:30 p.m. PST. KELANO, thank you again for coming on. People, thank you so much for hanging out. The chat, everyone here. Until next time, continue on your Joyage. Continue to learn. And be grateful you're alive watching this shit. God, continue. Give me 1 second. Continue to learn and be grateful you're alive watching this stream or listening to this space. Bye.